Okay, Jen. Well, I think we have, over 20 people now. I think we're ready to get this show on the road. What do you think?
I think let's do it. We're excited, Quinn, so take
Let's
it
do
away.
it.
Okay.
Okay. Are we officially recording yet?
Yes, Michelle's got
Okay.
us going. Thank you,
Okay.
Michelle.
Thank you so much. Is everyone hearing me okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Learning how to code the right way. Just by way of introduction, my name is Quinn Heiner. I've been at Software Technology Group, or STG, for almost a decade now. Microsoft Certified Solutions Developer, which basically means I took a bunch of multiple choice tests from Microsoft and got a piece of paper, so doesn't mean too much, but I'm a full stack .NET developer. And today I wanted to mainly demo Visual Studio Liveshare. And for me, really, it's been a game changer. I've been in the business long enough and I see what Visual Studio Liveshare has to offer. It's really is, I think, transformational in the industry in how we learn, how we collaborate. And it especially for me with COVID and everything else going on where everyone's not in the same room at the same time actually works better for remote development in a collaborative way. And so I wanted to go over that. So in terms of how to learn to code, and just really quick, let me paste one more time in the chat window. If you guys want to follow along on the slides, I know a lot of these links don't show up until after you join in the meeting. So for those of us who just joined, there's the link to the slides. You can follow along as I'm going along. If you take off the /live at the end of that URL, you can follow through the slides at your own pace. You don't need to have me control the slides for you. So it's up to you how you want to do that. But that's the link in the chat for you if you want to go through at your own pace on the slides. So in terms of learning how to code, there's lots of methods. We have method one, just reading a book, or with. Now, for those of us who are a little bit younger, just to kind of explain what a book is, it's kind of a rectangular device, comes in lots of different sizes, actual printed paper with printed words on it. At least that's what I've been told. I don't have a whole lot of experience with them, but with books, for the fundamentals, fundamentals of programming, especially object-oriented programming, not a lot has changed over the decades with that kind of stuff. So they're really good for learning the fundamentals, but especially with technology specific things, they tend to become outdated very quickly. And of course, they're not very interactive. It's very much a one-way street. And of course, a lot of these books are more academic in nature. They're often disconnected from real world software development. So another way we learn how to code is by watching a YouTube video or a Pluralsight course or whatever. And watching is a little bit better because you can problems and coding in a more live environment, but it's still not interactive. Of course, there's so much content out there. It's not very trustworthy to know what's the authoritative source or what sources are better than others. And my single frustration with watching a video of learning how to code is it's often trivial. These hello world applications, they're often disconnected from real world software projects. A lot of these, it's so frustrating. By the way, this is just for demo purposes. I would never do it this way in the real world. In a commercially viable product, I would never do it like this. And of course, my question is, well, how would you do it in a real environment? And those questions are usually never answered. So there's also this concept of instructor-led training. This is more of your physical classroom environment, more traditional, like a college class or a boot camp or something like that. And what I've found with these, yes, they're really good, but we tend to have instructors that tend to have what I call repeated experience. And they say, oh, I have 10 years of experience in the industry, when what they're really saying is they only have 1 year of experience 10 times, if that makes sense. So a lot of them, they've been in the same code base or working for the same place for so long that they don't really see a lot of diverse viewpoints of, how to approach different problems and situations. And so another thing is, it's really hard to cater to different skill levels at the same time. How frustrating is it when you're in this, in a lab setting, everyone has their own machines and the instructor's there. And he says, okay, is everyone done with step one? And, a couple of people raise their hand and then we're sitting there twiddling our thumbs while we're waiting for those few people to catch up, or maybe they're having some problems with their machines and things like that. So it's kind of hard to coordinate everyone in different places at different times in terms of skill levels and going through exercises and things like that. And of course, this is often similar to the other things of a lot of this is more academic. A lot of these aren't actual real world projects in terms of getting that instruction. That's more of something you would do in the industry. And so, which brings me to method 4, pair programming. Now we're getting somewhere. With pair programming, there are a lot of advantages to this if you do it right. You get much more of an interactive environment. You get that one-on-one training, which is very valuable, especially when you're with the right person. But there are some problems with pair programming. Some people swear by it, some people hate it. It's kind of a love-hate relationship. But what I find is when I'm doing pair programming, it's very easy for one person to do most of the work. The one driving or the one kind of the more senior level, they tend to just be doing all the work and the other person just kind of watching. Another thing is it's difficult to sustain for long periods of time. Do you really picture yourself pair programming for 8 hours a day? It just doesn't work that way. Sometimes you need to kind of go off and do your own thing. You have emails you need to catch up on, meetings to go to. So it's kind of hard to sustain throughout the day. And of course, the business case against it is it can be very expensive. You're paying for 2 resources to deliver, something that you could split them off and be doing double the work. So although there are some intangible cost benefits that are hard to quantify, from a purely, on paper for business, it's a tough sell. So what do we do? So in my opinion, really, over the years, I found the best way to learn how to code is to pick the brain of someone who is a master of their craft, who has many years of diverse real-world experience, and who also has the soft skills needed for great mentorship. You could be the best coder in the world, but if you're a grumpy person, you're not approachable, you have a huge ego, or you're a purist, it may not be the best situation. And so let's tweak this concept of pair programming a little bit. So I'm saying let's tweak it in 3 ways to make it the most effective way to learn how to code. Number 1, we're going to give everyone their own machine. Okay. So no more looking over someone's shoulder, telling them what they typed. Hey, you missed a semicolon here. Everyone's going to have their own machine. But what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, no more multiple repos. And what I mean by that is, you have a repository where all the code is, and everyone has to clone it on they have a local copy of that repo in most scenarios. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to say, hey, no more merge conflicts. We're just going to use a single repo. And most importantly, number 3 here, we're going to share the same local environment. This is where it becomes powerful, because now we don't have this setup ceremony of, hey, I need you to see what I'm seeing. So not only do you need to go and download a repo and clone it and all that stuff, but then you need to do some setup, get your config files in place and do this and that. And there's all this ceremony to just be able to see what someone else is seeing, especially if they don't see it in their environment, but you're seeing on your box. It's the classic, hey, it works on my box. So we're going to do with these three things, I think is going to take pair programming, or collaborative programming, as I'm calling it, to the next level. We're going to get the advantages with collaborative programming without all these disadvantages that we talked about. And that brings us to Visual Studio Liveshare. Okay. What's nice about it, it's going to be equally interactive. No more, one person doing all the work type of thing. It's also going to be much quicker to see that symbiotic relationships, how the code works together. In the case of Angular, how does the HTML and the TypeScript and the CSS and the component, how does everything work together with services and everything else? And also, it's very, like I mentioned before, it's very low friction to get started. You don't need a repo, you don't need a local environment set up. All you need is 3 things: Visual Studio Liveshare and a browser, and the Liveshare extension, obviously, within, Visual Studio Code, I meant to say. So Visual Studio Code with the Liveshare extension and a browser, and you're up, ready to go. Okay. So without further ado here, let me really quick on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one person and me kind of walk you through how a Visual Studio Liveshare starts, how to set it up, and how to get on. And then we're going to open it up for everyone to come in and join in the fun. And we're all going to build an app at the same time. So it's like a shared Google Doc for coding. It's going to be a lot of fun. So in terms of setup instructions, it's basically go to the code.visualstudio.com. I sent the link in the chat. and start downloading it. Now, this is not just a Microsoft Windows thing. This is cross-platform. You can use on your Mac, your Linux. You're going to want to install the Liveshare extension. So on the left side, once you open Visual Studio Code, you'll see the little blocks over there. You'll go through there and you'll type in Liveshare in the search box and just hit the install. It's a very quick and painless process there. And then you're just going to join a session. When you go to join, so the Liveshare link on that left side, it's like the little arrow with the dot underneath. On the bottom right side, you'll have two options. I know I said in the description for the course or for the brown bag that you have the option you have to have a GitHub account or a Microsoft account. Well, actually, you can continue as anonymous and just type in your name and join. You don't have to actually sign in. So the easiest way, though, that we're going to do it is just through a link. So I'm going to send you a link, and then you'll follow those on-screen instructions. You'll be redirected back to Visual Studio Code, and then you'll be able to do it. Be able to join in the session. So let's go ahead and get going on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit up my old pal, Austin, and say, hey, dear Austin, my favorite programmer, please, let's see. We're going to build a social media app, and I need your help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into here. I'm going to start sharing. And that will give me a link that will copy to my clipboard. Austin says, cool. All right, so he's in. So all it is literally he's clicking the link. And before you do that, Austin, I'm going to have you share your screen. So I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to see what he's seeing on his side. Are you there, Austin? Are you able to share your screen with everyone? Okay. Okay, so this is now on his side. So he's clicked the link. It basically redirects you and says, gives you the information of about the Liveshare session, and you have the option to continue. You can do it in Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. And for now, let's just use Visual Studio Code. And again, this is not specific to a language or an OS, Mac, Linux. And this is not just front-end web development. We were debugging C#. I've heard of people doing Java. They're stepping through code all in a shared environment on back end. It's not just web, and it's not just a Microsoft Windows product. So I'm going to go back into here. Let's see. All right. See if it'll load for him here. And those of you who, that's the link to get your Visual Studio Code. And then if you did want to follow along on the slides, there's the link for the slides. And if you take off that /live at the end, you can follow through the slides. Okay. So now on my end, it's saying I need to accept the invitation here. So now we're in. So I'm going to go ahead and start up my server here. So one thing that's really cool about Liveshare, so see, now there is no repository associated with this. This isn't a GitHub repo. This is just a project I just created without hooking it up to anything. And he's now able to see my code on my box. And if you notice, as I start typing things here, it's just like the share Google Doc where he can see me typing. So also, Austin, if you right-click on the actual, under the participants, you can right-click and follow the person. So if he clicks on that Liveshare extension on the left side, and then right-clicks my name, you can follow the participant. So now, as I'm going through files and things like that, if it'll load for him there. So basically, it follows my cursor. So as I'm going through different files, typing in different places, going from component to component or wherever in the source code, he'll be able to track where I'm at. So you can kind of follow along as people are typing through things. But one of the more powerful things, let's see, there you go. So now as I'm clicking through files and things like that, he's following me. But one of the things that makes Liveshare really powerful is the fact that we can share our local environment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my server. Just 1 second here. I'm going to do localhost, and let's just do port 4205. I'm going to call it Quinn's server. And now I'm going to go ahead and start running the app here. So I'm going to do ng-serve. We won't see anything yet because I'm still running the app, but so if you notice on the left side there in Visual Studio Code, he saw that shared servers node. He could click right on it and it would take him to the localhost link there. Now, so although it's saying on his box, it's saying localhost 4205, it's actually my app that he's running for my code. So if I can, okay, so now everything looks like it's running here. All right, Austin, is everything loaded up for you yet? Okay, seeing something there. It's taking a while. Okay, well, I'm seeing the tab. Yeah. Okay, so while that's loading, I'm going to go ahead and I think we're ready to open this up to everyone. So I'm going to send the link out in the chat window here and let everyone start joining in the fun. So if I can grab the live share here. Okay, so everyone that's in and installed, go ahead and click that link. You can sign in as an anonymous guest, or you can go ahead and go through your GitHub or your Microsoft account. And let's start to get some more people here on the code base. Then we'll talk in a second about what we're going to build. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and present now, Austin, if that's okay. Okay, it looks like we're getting some people in here. Sweet. So before everyone starts typing like crazy, looks like we've got a good handful of people here. So for those of you who are in, you can go ahead and click my name, and you can right click and do follow participant if you want to be able to follow where I'm going. But right now we're just in the app component HTML file. And we're going to build a social media platform. It's called How's My Face? And we've got a list of technical requirements from the business here. Let me zoom in for those of you who aren't in the code. And again, on this left side under shared servers, you can click on this, and that will actually load up the app for you. So here's the list of technical requirements for it. We got to synergize the strategic alignment of our initiatives and any other buzzwords you want to put in there. We got to build it in 20 minutes or less. If anyone has some good cat memes, we need a minimum of 3. We've got needs to be the next tech unicorn. Our budget is $11 million, and testing is only allowed in production. So I don't know about you guys, that seems pretty crystal clear on what we're building here. So without further ado, let me accept some more people's invitations here. So down here underneath all of this, all these business requirements, let's go ahead and just start adding some HTML. So if anyone wants to go through and start marking it up. And now the key thing here, we want to make sure that we're avoiding, don't save the files. The more we save, that it kind of clogs things up if you got like 20, 30 people saving the file at the same time. So for now, don't save any files, but let's at least get some HTML going. So feel free to start typing away here. And we can kind of peek in on progress and see how people are doing. Nice. We've already got our unicorn icon here. We've got some good images coming in. Sweet. Now I'm going to open up a new component here for some actual faces. It is called How's My Face? Yeah. Okay. Nice. This is looking really good, guys. Now, if you click anywhere, you'll see, I'm going to move this up to the top of the page here. So if you click anywhere on the page, you'll get these randomized faces thanks to the power of Canvas. Looks like we're covering up some stuff though, so maybe I should move that back down underneath the cat stuff. Okay. Now, as we're going through and building some more stuff here, I want to see if, oh yeah, the unicorn showed up right there. Looking good. Okay, we still need another cat meme if anyone has one. Looks like we got a broken image here. Whoever wants to fix that one. But what I'm hoping that you're seeing is that if you've clicked this shared server over here, that as we're updating things, as we're making changes, when I refresh when I save my file, you guys are also seeing those changes immediately on your local environment as well. Does that seem to be what people are experiencing? They're also seeing what I'm seeing? Nice. And that's really, for me, where Liveshare is really powerful, is the fact that we're able to share the same local environment. And it's not just for web stuff. Any type of local environment that you want to share, any server that you want to share, you can do that. We also have this concept of shared terminals here on the left side. I can actually open up these terminals down here, and people could start typing in there and whatever command you want, creating components and things like that. Also, if you do there's an extension for Liveshare for audio. So you don't have to do a Google Hangout or a Google Meet or whatever. You can also just do straight audio chat. There are traditional chat capabilities built into it, but if you want to take it to the next level and have that audio capability, you have that as well. So between sharing code, similar to like a shared Google Doc, between sharing servers and sharing terminals, this is a really powerful tool. You can probably see immediately kind of some of the benefits of this for training purposes, for pair programming, where you have a lot of different options. And for me, this is a really great way to learn how to code. Let's see, what else was I going to go through here while everyone's... Oh, yeah, that's looking nice. I'm loving that unicorn. Okay. We still are missing a cat meme. If anyone has one that they can provide. Let's see if we've gone over all these features. So the ability to follow someone as they're going through things, sharing local host, sharing terminals, chat capabilities. Again, it's cross-platform, cross-language. Doesn't matter what OS you're on, it just works. Like I said, we were debugging C# the other day. I've heard of people doing Java as well. You can step through code together. It's also extensible if you really want to geek out. There's a link there. You can extend Liveshare in a lot of different ways. This is what's really trippy. I wanted to show you this really quick. If I go to the terminal, or sorry, the help menu here, and I go to toggle developer tools, this is where it's really creepy, because now, Visual Studio Code is a desktop app, but now I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, wait a minute, or is it a web app? And this is kind of what powers what enables you to do what you're doing. Is we have this it's kind of a hybrid desktop web app, and it's using Electron, and that's kind of the magic behind the scenes. If you guys want to geek out on that and kind of how things are working under the hood, you can check that out as well. Now, just in terms of personal experience with Liveshare, I've had we had a project come up that was one of those fire drill emergency projects at my current client at Department of Workforce Services. As you know, with COVID, there's been lots of relief packages and things passed by Congress. And for us at the Department of Workforce Services at DWS, that translates to building a lot of software very quickly. And one of these projects, we estimated it was about a 4 to 6 month project. And they came to us and said, oh, by the way, we need this done in 2 weeks. 2 weeks and this was not a trivial, static website. This had a lot of features, file upload and queue management, worker management, payments, a lot of things to it. And we had to build this sucker in 2 weeks. And really, for me, Liveshare really saved our bacon, because we had to assemble a temporary front end team. And in order to show people the ropes and how things are connected and how everything works in terms of front end architecture, to get people up to speed really quickly and working and collaborating the way that we did, really, it saved the project in a lot of ways, because we were able to do that through Liveshare. All right. Quinn is a handsome Neo. Handsome, I'm going to edit this here. Handsome less. Okay, let's see what we got here. Looking good, guys. So that's really the bulk of what I wanted to share. Are there any questions about Liveshare or about anything that we've covered so far? And oh, I'm actually seeing some stuff in the chat here. Yes, it's very great for remote working. Like I said, this actually works better with being remote, because if you're in the same physical location, I don't know about you, but for me, when people are pair programming, it's kind of distracting, because all the other coworkers around in the cube farms are kind of hearing your conversation, and you don't get that privacy. So for me, Liveshare's been better with the pandemic, with being remote. It's been the fastest, easiest way to collaborate and build things at the same time. Have you clicked on Quinn's server underneath shared servers on the left side screen? Yes. Okay. So they're seeing the code, just not the results. So yeah, if you on the left side there, right here, it says Quinn server. Just click on that sucker. Also, you can copy that server URL to your clipboard and just go to your web browser and type it in. It should work. Yeah, in terms of your GitHub and Microsoft account, you may have clicked to sign in as anonymous. It may just clicked in the wrong spot. Sometimes it is a little bit tricky to associate those credentials. And then I totally agree with Andrew's point. Rather live share even in person than look over his shoulder. Yeah, that could be very frustrating. You know, it's very nerve-wracking for me if I'm the driver and someone else is telling me what to type. I'm sitting there like, oh, dude, bro, you missed a semicolon. Oh, you know, that could be frustrating. So it's nice to have that experience of the person can go in and correct as you're typing. You can both be typing at the same time, so you don't have to have that bottleneck. Durga, would the repository files save into the disk for guests, or would it just be at the host? Okay, so this, I think what the question is how do we commit this to a repo if there's 500 people working in the same code base? And the quick answer to that is there is a way with your Git commits, especially Visual Studio Code with Git, you can add contributors to the commit message. So even though one person commits it at the end of the day, those commit messages you can auto-generate and say, here are all the people that worked on this commit. So you do have, obviously one person does the actual commit, but then you do have that extensibility with the contributors. What languages are you working with, looking at learning?
Sorry, that was specifically at Patricia. She said she's newer to code, so.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, there's, I think the most valuable languages, of course, anything to do with the web is big, right? Only learn Java. We're about to start a holy war here. But yes, full stack development is the way to go. I know there's always demand for web apps, so having a front end framework under your belt, you know, Angular, React, Vue, one of the big three. There are lots of others. If you're in the Microsoft world, Blazor is really starting to gain traction. That's a really good skill to have, in that it doesn't even rely on JavaScript. It's a whole different framework for front end. So learning both front end and back end, you know, whatever back end technology, Java and C# are the two big ones in terms of back end languages to learn. You definitely want database skills. Just there's a lot of in terms of SQL. There's lots of different flavors of SQL, but just learning the general concepts of relational databases and non-relational databases, I know are big right now. I know the church uses MarkLogic, which is all XML based. There's lots of different options out there. Did the program get finished in the 2 weeks they gave you? Yes, technically it did. We did finish in the 2 weeks. We were ready to go. And business came back and said, oh, by the way, we don't have staff ready for you yet. So it's going to be a while. So I'm like, okay, so why didn't we have 3 or 4 weeks if we didn't know the staff was they didn't have them trained and ready to go in time. So, but we did finish on time. Any other questions? Again, I didn't intend to go the full hour today, but I just wanted to kind of hopefully get you converted to Liveshare and the concept with collaborative programming, and give you guys a great option for training for working together. Any other questions before I let you guys go? Let's take one last look at our app and see the state of everything. See what we built together. Looks like we've, yeah, this is looking really good, guys. I'm impressed. I think we met the requirements. I think we're ready to ship this to production, and I think we came well under the budget. 11 million was the budget. We did do it in about 20 minutes. So good work, guys. All right. Well, if there were no other questions, I think, Jen, we're ready to hit stop on the recording, and we'll see you guys around. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thanks, Quinn. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Thanks.